Hello again, my friends. So, we've already talked about Bootstrap. We've learned how to include it in our project. Now, what kind of a project are we going to do? So, why don't we talk about it just a little bit, and then we'll start our project. In fact, there are a couple of subtleties in each field that I want to bring your attention to before we start. So, to enlighten you with a metaphor, perhaps, before you start cleaning up, for instance. You pick everything up off the floor and then you vacuum, right? Or you dust before you vacuum. But let's say you're an interior designer. You get the specs, you get the plans, you go to the work site before you start designing anything and you find out what you're asked to do. Then you can make a design by combining the specs with your own imagination. It works that way in a digital environment as well. So the work begins after you understand the constraints and protocols. All right, so here's a web design. But if you want to be a good web designer, you don't start just by writing code right away. First of all, it's important to fully understand what the client is asking of you, right? So these requests may come to you from whoever they are, right? Friends or family, maybe from your boss. So you first analyze these requests. Then you can draw out your design with a paper and pencil, or you can do up your design in many digital applications that are available. You can then show this design to your boss or friends or family before you start writing the code because you're going to get their input. Then you'll be able to make it all fancy with designing colors and the areas and shapes and everything that you're going to be using on your web page. But let me suggest you also, why don't you have a look around, examine different pages, as many as you can find. For example, you can review many web page sections on the UI patterns site. For example, let's prepare navigation. We can open it here and examine the examples and see what it looks like first. We can also do this for many different sections. So studying these sites basically gives us a wider perspective. If you were a painter, it increases or broadens the palette of colors that you have, well, on your palette, right? Okay, I'm not a painter, so bear with me. But basically, it's by studying these differences and examining the different designs, we'll be able to prepare our own designs before we write code. And I'm telling you, that is going to make your job a whole lot easier. Now, of course, after you start preparing code, your design may change, but by building a proper foundation, you're going to make your work a whole lot easier in every way, especially when you have to go back. So this is not a course about how to be a really great web designer, right? That's another course. But what we're doing here is learning Bootstrap. So you examine pages on your own, build some perspective, and let's move on. So what we have here is a page that I've designed where we are going to learn the topics as well as gain practical experience. Now, in general, I tried to add all of the most popular sections from a web page because after you finish these lessons, I want you to be able to very easily prepare different pages on your own. So yeah, let's have a look and see what's in our page. So first up, we've got a nav bar section. And I wrote it up in here because you can see these are the different Bootstrap lessons that are prepared. Project names, company names, maybe logos can also be used here. And then here's the link section for a quick look. I use these links again to make my job easier. Then I wrote our title on it just by using an image in the background, and I added a small paragraph. So then just going down here a little bit, created this icon area, and we can see on the web page, right? So while creating this section, we'll learn how to add the font awesome to our project. And then we can easily prepare these icons for our project. And with the grid structure in Bootstrap, we'll be able to easily prepare responsive structures. So now you see this area here. We're going to create this using modal in Bootstrap. Then when I press the play button, see a window which a promotional video can be added. And I added one of our earlier lessons here. And then when we move on, we'll talk about the card in Bootstrap. Remember when I brought that up? So here I created a product section, and oftentimes product and pricing sections can be complex, but I prepared one for you to easily understand how they can be made. Also, I've given a slideshow behind it so that we can talk about how to build up a slideshow with Bootstrap. And this can also be an area where testimonials and, those positive comments that customers make, reviews and so forth, those can be shared here. There's also things like fields such as a history area or a vision or mission statement can be added. I'll talk to you about the z-index we haven't covered yet. And then I'll have my favorite part, the image gallery. And here we created an image gallery with different pictures. All right, so then here we have the Contact Us section. And I just slapped in a message section. You might want to reach out by using the form element, right? So yeah, it might look like a simple web page at first, but I designed it in particular because we'll be able to use this as an example to learn all the different facets of Bootstrap and what we can do, put them into practice. Of course, you can do as many designs as you want as we talk about each topic, but our aim here is to learn what we can do with these ready-made codes that are found in Bootstrap. All right, so that's it for now. We'll dive deep in our next lesson, so I'll see you in next class.